Louis Theroux has made a documentary that provides insight into the manosphere. If you spend a lot of time on the internet or watch my content, you already know what it is. For those who don't have a clear understanding of what their ideology is, then maybe the name Andrew Tate rings a bell in your head. Those are people who preach discipline, dominance, and control, and they usually fall into what's called the red pill. This manosphere belief system built on the idea that society is selling men a fake dream about success, relationships, and happiness that most of them will never actually reach. And taking the red pill, a reference to the Matrix, is supposed to mean waking up to that reality, seeing the world for what it really is, not how people want you to see it, and breaking out of that system they believe is designed to keep men passive and controlled. And that's also how you end up with their view of women, seeing relationships as power dynamics where women are often reduced to status, beauty, and leverage rather than actual connection.
A man who's not dangerous will never be seen as successful. You can't be a little man against women that's attack on masculinity. If your bitch is going to a club when you said no, destroy her fucking life.
Basically, men, strong, provide, as a harem, and box society, women, monogamy, and kitchen. And I didn't expect much from the documentary since I cover that type of content. I know how they are, I know how they think, I know what they preach. But honestly, it was more interesting than I thought, because usually when I see them on camera, they're always in control, they're always in a safe environment with people that think like them. They never truly put themselves in a position that makes them vulnerable or look like frauds. But this documentary allows us to see how they are when the cameras are off. Do they keep the same energy, a relationship with their loved ones, and why do those men have that kind of ideology? After watching the documentary twice, those guys are massive frauds, bigger frauds than Megumi. The first thing that shocked me was the fact that they had no idea who was going to interview them.
The documentary today with this guy Louis Theroux, that took like a majority of the day. I don't know who he is, but apparently he's a respected documentarian. Do you guys know who this is?
Man, you know this Brit cuck is going to make a hit piece, right? He's so woke his wife makes him pee sitting down.
For guys who claim that the Matrix is after them, who claim that mainstream media only spreads misinformation, I expect you to be more cautious. And from there, the documentary starts diving deeper into their world. You've got guys like Myron from Fresh and Fit, HS Tiki Justin, Sneako, all sitting down explaining their views, their mindset, how they see relationships, success, nothing you haven't heard before. But the interesting part isn't really what they are saying, it's how they act when they're actually put in certain situations. Because at some point, you start noticing small inconsistencies, little moments where the energy isn't the same anymore. And that's where the cracks starts to show. And a good example would be when Myron was getting interviewed. Because at some point, Louis showed Myron a clip of him sharing one of his controversial opinions. And instead of showing out the same energy in front of the camera, it looks like Myron turned into a monk. Because he's trying to make his statement more nuanced.
I'm the dictator, you're the subordinate. And I dictate when I want to put dick in you, bitch. And then you dictate when the sandwiches come by my dictation. That's how this goes. And women love guys like this. Then tell them what it is. This isn't open to interpretation or how you feel or what you think. It doesn't matter what you fucking think. I dictate when I put my dick in you. Yeah. So, do I literally mean, oh, yeah, I want to smash right now and you're on your period? And she's like, no, I don't want to do it right now. Like, that's fine. Like, obviously you don't do it. But I need guys to kind of have this mindset where it's like, you're the leader, you're assertive, you're dominant, you're the dictator of the relationship. What you say goes.
If you have a basic level in listening comprehension, then you clearly know what he meant by that. And Myron always portrays himself as an eloquent speaker. Technically, he should know which words to use to spread his message. He's only saying that because he's not the one in control of the camera right now. When Louis is showing him the clip, you can clearly see he has this uncomfortable grin, but he's like, oh fuck, now I have to defend myself. And if your point needs explanation, why not do it in the first place when the podcast was initially recorded? And it's not just him, it happens with HS Tiki because during the interview, you can see he's extremely vocal about his opinions or ideologies. He'll say things like he'll disown his son if he's gay.
I'd disown my daughter like that. Would you? Right, if she done something like that. Come on, that's easy to say. Same way if my son come out gay. Well, seriously, being gay nowadays is considered quite normal. Not my son. Why? Just not my son, innit?
All the Jews are the one controlling everything behind the scenes. But in front of his mother, funny enough, he also turns into a monk. Brother HS loves everyone.
What struck me in the last week or so, I see clips of HS saying, call me racist, call me misogynist, call me homophobic, call me a scammer. I'm all those things. Yeah, that's my website. I don't care.
Do you feel you are those things?
No.
Think you're homophobic?
I'm not homophobic. It's not. I have a gay mate.
But you said that you had a son and he was gay and disowned.
That's not homophobic.
What is it then?
The other thing was some of the anti-Semitic things that you were saying.
Like, he's Jewish. Have I said it in a clip?
Jews, yes. Does that mean I'm anti-Semitic? No, I'm clip farming. Kids watch this stuff.
Fuck the niggas? Nah, bruv. I was just clip farming. I can't be racist, bruv. Every day in my class, I sit next to a black guy. He's my homie. I've never seen guys collapse like that so instantly and in such a humiliating way. I'd rather last 5 seconds in bed than have this happen to me, because those are supposed to be their values. They are supposed to defend them. I don't care what's for the clip. If you can drop those statements on camera, you better own up to them in front of your mom. Plus, you're an alpha male, she isn't going to do anything, right? According to Justin, you guys have nothing to hide.
I'm hiding nothing. I refuse to. I refuse to.
Those guys don't believe in what they preach. Then if this bravado is only for the cameras, why do they spread it online? Well, it's because they make a huge ton of moolah off of that ideology. You've got guys like HS giving financial advice, telling you where to invest, how to build wealth. Justin doing the same thing. His quote go from $50 a month to 100. HS literally has 500,000 people on his Telegram. And the more people you get to believe in it, the bigger that machine becomes. But where it gets really interesting is the contradiction, because at the same time they're telling you women are distractions, that they are the problem, but they are also teaming up with OF models, building content around them, promoting them. So you watch the content, you buy into the mindset, and then you're pushed right back into the same system they told you to escape. It's just a loop, not a virtuous cycle, the complete opposite. And like I said, those guys don't even believe in the image they sell you. Just look at their relationships, because according to them, the man is supposed to be the one who decides everything. He's the one in control. The wife has to stay at home and doesn't have a say. If the man wants multiple girls, he can. If he wants to put his dick in it, he can. He's a dictator. Their whole system is based around this image of a strong, dominant male. But in private, they'd be doing 50-50. At some point, Louis is asking Myron if he'd like to have multiple wives. And Myron says yes, he'd like to. But when Angie arrives, his girlfriend at the time, he completely changes. He lost that dog in him.
Your girlfriend's named Angie, right?
Yeah.
And then, do you have like a rotation of other women?
I wouldn't say a rotation like right now. I do want to get her multiple wives, but right now I'm just like focusing on like building things up for this year especially.
Multiple wives, really?
Oh, hey, there's Angie right there.
Should we meet Angie?
Yeah, she's
Angie, can we say hi?
Yeah, we'll keep it short though for her.
Hi, Louis. Nice to meet you. How do you do?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Here, come here, baby.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars?
Yelp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy to have her by my side. She's been great, really helpful.
But we were talking about in the future that maybe there's a world where you would have more than one wife, right?
She understands that. She knows that could potentially come down in the future.
What did you say about that?
I don't know. I mean, he has said that in the past. I think I'll see when it happens. Like, I don't know how that will work. The thing is that I think...
Well, right now it's not going to be anytime soon because I'm just so focused on working.
But it could happen, right?
It could. It's something you never know, man. You can always change your mind down the road. Who knows? Maybe I'll say, I only just want to be with one girl because the two would be too tough. You know.
You backtracked on that already.
What happened, Dictator Myron? I thought you were the one in control. Those guys are liars. They don't control anything. If she agreed with him, she would have never started that much. She would have never had to think that long. And he would have never had to interrupt her and control the conversation. But because it's becoming painfully obvious that this whole circus is just for the cameras and that they are not on the same tracks at all, he has to cut it out. That's why he didn't want her to partake in the interview.
Who advocates for the idea of like the 1% male, that ultimate masculine, that he's
Go her. Sorry. Also, I need if you could clean up the room too. I need some help, with that.
He was trying to hide her like she was a failed umbrella experiment. And then you see the same thing with Justin, because at some point, Louis is asking him if they are legally married. And his wife says yes. And Justin is like, I didn't involve the state in it.
Do you have arranged nights where you know Justin is with someone else?
No.
Is it a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing?
Kind of.
You don't need to know.
I don't need to
You don't
know.
want the gory
What do I-
details.
What do I need to? It's not even gory. I don't.
Sexy?
I think that most women, I could be going on a limb here, but I think most women would like the idea or like to know that their man is wanted by other women. I guess
Very far away.
Yeah.
I didn't bring the state into it. Why did you not get married in the eyes of the state? You think the financial side? Yeah, I'm hiding nothing. I refuse to. I refuse to.
Oh my days, guys, just look at her facial expression. Her entire world has been shattered in that instant. Now she knows that at any moment she can be sleeping with the dogs outside. She understands that she's going through that bullshit for nothing. And trust me, guys, if she truly believed in it, I wouldn't have any problem. You know, that's your life. You do what you want to do. But how do you not know that you weren't legally married? How can we all learn that information at the same moment? Aren't you supposed to be his other half? You see, their own private lives don't even reflect what they show you on camera, and you can try to ignore it, but once you start paying attention to those small details, it's hard not to notice. Look at the facial expressions, look at the body language. Take Justin's wife for example. You can see she's not fully aligned with what he's saying. She's constantly looking at him for confirmation, like she's unsure, and every time she tries to explain herself, she stutters a lot or changes subject. If you truly have faith in someone, then you'll never look at that person because you know they will always have your back. And then with Myron and Angie, there's a moment where he asks her for a kiss, and instead she gives him this awkward hug, can barely even look at him properly, and it's subtle, but it says a lot, because when you actually look at those interactions, you don't really see what they're describing. You don't see control, you don't see alignment, you definitely don't see genuine connection. It feels off, and once you notice it, you can't really unsee it. That's why they don't want their girls to do interviews. They may say it's because they chose to be in the limelight and not them.
You know, since there was a little feeling of like maybe Angie shouldn't be in the documentary, I would just wonder what was behind that.
I decided to get into the limelight, and I don't want her to have to deal with that.
She's on the show, isn't she? I've seen her.
No, she doesn't come on the show.
Not anymore. I've seen her, but
It's been a while, Frank said, please. I want her to focus on being happy, and she doesn't need to be in the limelight. That's my
is it
job.
coming more from you or from her?
Both.
But in reality, it's because they want to maintain the control. Their girls might slip up and destroy their image. That's why they have to do the necessary to maintain this alpha male image. But despite all the flagrant evidence of them being frauds, this phenomenon is going to be there for a while because of the fans. At some point in the documentary, Louis interviewed Justin's fans, and they are the archetype of men who will fall for that. No father figure. They've been beaten down by life and society. They have a lot of anger inside of them. They blindly follow that ideology because it comforts them, it validates how they feel, and it gives them value. This devotion to the red pill is solely based on emotions, because when you ask them to give a clear explanation of what the red pill is and what it means, they don't know. They have a higher chance of explaining quantum physics to you than explaining what the red pill is.
How do you know Justin?
I see his videos in one of my greatest role models. I like that. Him, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, brothers, they're all big inspiration to all of us.
What's the message? What'd you get from it?
I just say to never give up. You know, it's like as a man, you're born without value. We have to build that value throughout time.
What do you mean, life as a man, you're born without value?
It's nothing in that world is given to you. You have to every single thing. 100%.
Do you think women have it hard?
I think they're born with their value through beauty. Exactly.
Give up, my guy. Give up. Because right now, you look like a fucking donkey. It was so bad Justin had to come in. And honestly, it pains me because they've been so deeply indoctrinated by it that things like depression or other mental illnesses, they'll just brush off as it's something that was created by the Western world to make men weaker. Which is crazy because this man's brother literally took his own life.
And we don't believe in depression also. My brother passed away.
How did he die?
He took his own life.
I don't care if people say I like empathy, that I'm too harsh, but you'll never help anyone. Your brother took his own life because he most likely mentally checked out. And you have the audacity to say things like depression is not real on camera. Fans like him may be the final boss of stupidity, but they have to understand that it's never too late to come back. Things aren't always black and white. When you look at it, this whole thing is built on contradictions. People preaching control who don't even have it, selling solutions they don't live themselves. And honestly, honestly, it's kind of sad because a lot of this doesn't come from confidence. It comes from insecurity, from people who feel like they weren't in control at some point and are trying to make sure they never feel that way again. Louis gives us insight in their childhood, and some of them had a difficult upbringing.
It was striking how many were raised without dads. H.S., the anti-feminist, had told me how his mum, Elaine, had worked 6-day weeks late into the evening to put him through private school.
There was certainly a broken home going on. There was violence going on. There was violence with the mom.
It makes sense that once they reach adulthood, they try their best to never feel that sense of powerlessness again. And I get, everyone wants control, stability, validation, but building your worldview on that kind of mindset, it doesn't fix the problem. And with how things are going today, I don't think this mindset is going anywhere anytime soon. Before ending the video, I want to give Fresh 1 minute, because in the documentary, they give him like, what, 5 seconds? And for those who don't know who Fresh / Froggy / Walter CEO is, he's Myron's co-host on Fresh and Fit, which means he's supposed to be a top guru in the manosphere. And weirdly enough, they did not interview him. The only time you hear his voice is when he introduces himself, and you barely hear it, and when he acts as a hype man for Myron. If people are researching in your field and they don't interview you, then you are literally a bum. Like, you were right there. They could have asked you a few questions. A bad boomerang has more value than him. Let that sink in. You're not built for this. Leave, go find that prostitute and marry her. Just go and live a happy life at this point. But that'll be all for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you've enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to leave a like. And if that type of content is made for you, then join the channel, subscribe. I'll see you soon for another one. Thank you for watching.